Stephon Castle player comparisons. We're going to do a best case and a worst case scenario for Stephon Castle. We do not know what each other's answers are to this. And the way this is going to work is we're basically going to try and talk the other person into what the better answer is between my best case and my worst case for Stephon Castle and Carter's best case and his worst case for Stephon Castle. We're doing every single player on our big board. We have a big board of 75 players that we built with Brian Ralph and Riley Davis. I will be unveiling these day by day leading up to the NBA draft. I'm nervous for this one, Cart. I'm tingly. This is our very top player on the draft board. And we had to imagine a worst case scenario for him. Let's start with best case scenario, though, Cart. What is your best case scenario for Stephon Castle in the NBA?
My best case scenario for Stephon Castle is Jimmy Butler. I think that the size profile matches up. I think the competitiveness matches up. I think the defensive ability obviously matches up. And coming out of Marquette, Jimmy Butler had concerns about the jump shot, right? He wasn't necessarily a knockdown shooter whatsoever, but he was a guy that still found a way to score and impact basketball games. And as his career progressed, the work ethic, the competitiveness, the drive kind of extended his game, improved his game. I think Stephon Castle can have that same type of impact that Jimmy Butler has on both ends of the floor. So I've always saw some Jimmy in there. Also, Jimmy does have some playmaking tendencies, and I know that you believe in Stephon Castle as a playmaker. I think his ceiling is Jimmy Butler.
Okay, I like that one. I think your comp and my comp are guys that have oddly been compared through the years in some ways. Here's why I don't like yours as much as where I'm going. I think that Jimmy Butler is a better shooter than the player that I'm going to compare Stephon Castle to. And I don't know that Stephon Castle is actually ever going to make as many threes as Jimmy Butler has. This past season as a vet, Jimmy Butler shot 41% from three. I don't think that's in Stephon Castle's future, even as a best case scenario. We've also said Stephon Castle's a winner. If you watch our scouting report video, you have said Stephon Castle winner. That's your word to describe him. How many championships does Jimmy Butler have?
He went to the finals.
You're right. But I'm talking winner. I think if Stephon Castle hits, he's a winner. He's a champion. I like your point about secondary creation. Like Jimmy Butler has that, 5 assists a game this year. I think we're definitely looking for a guy like that who can do some of that. I think Jimmy Butler's a little bit lower. In true honesty, if Stephon Castle hits, I think he'll be a better player than Jimmy Butler. That's why my comparison is Dwayne Wade.
Oh, my God.
My comparison is Dwayne Wade. Listen, man, when you think shooting guard that actually has some point guard skills, you think Dwayne Wade. When you think champion, when you think winner, you think Dwayne Wade. When you think smooth, when you think impact defender, you think Dwayne Wade. When you think, how did he do that without a jump shot? You think Dwayne Wade. Because his jumper was passable. There were seasons where he shot a lot of threes. He never made them. He never had a season from three better than 32%. But watching him, you never felt like he couldn't shoot because he was dynamic enough at everything else. His off-ball movement, his unselfishness to hey, I'm already a champ, but I'm going to step aside and let LeBron James come here. I think we've already seen Stephon Castle sacrifice to that extent in college. And I think really if it's the 100 out of 100 outcome, he does a lot of things on the court that Dwayne Wade can do.
So that with you saying that, does that not contradict that you said that Stephon Castle was Dwayne Wade not an all-star in his first 5 years?
Dwayne Wade was a 13-time all-star. He must have been early, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is the 100 out of 100 outcome. I'm not saying Stephon Castle's going to hit his best case scenario.
Got you. The only pushback I would have on that, and I like your thought process, is that in the half court, I think Dwayne Wade was a dynamic athlete and a scorer. Even though he wasn't not necessarily a jump shooter, he was so special at that Euro step and, dunking on people, exploding, having different moves. Now, granted, I think Dwayne Wade might have played 2 years in college. I got to double check that. But so maybe that is the best case scenario for Stephon Castle. He's 18 years old right now. So who knows where he gets. Um, I just have a hard time getting to like a top 75 player of all time, Hall of Famer. Best case, like, is a Hall of Famer coming out of one of the worst draft classes in a long time?
It could happen. It could happen. Don't say it can't. I mean, I'm not saying it's likely. I think it's possible. It's probably somewhere in the middle. And I think it is interesting. Jimmy Butler and Dwayne Wade have been compared to each other, both Marquette guys. So I feel good that you and I are like on the same path here. It's just debating, I think, whose ceiling is actually higher. To me, it's got to be Wade because of the champion side of this. He's a champ.
Okay,
He's a
can
winner.
I can I make one last ditch pitch effort here?
Yeah.
Stephon Castle's camp seems to be active. Jimmy Butler loves side quest. Could you not see Stephon Castle dipping his toe into just being an IG side quest guy?
I could. I don't see Jimmy Butler ever putting like emo makeup and hair on for media day though.
You mean Stephon Castle?
Or yeah, Stephon Castle. Sorry, I
Okay.
don't see that happening. Let's do our worst case comp, and then at the end of this, we'll decide whose we want to use here. Worst case scenario for Stephon Castle. I'll go first this time since you did last time. Justice Winslow.
Mm.
Okay, follow me on this. I was so high on Justice Winslow coming out of college. I felt identical in my feelings to Stephon Castle that I did. I thought this was a generational winner, a generational defender, a guy who won a championship in his one and done season in college, a guy who sacrificed and let other players on the team have the ball, Tyus Jones and Jahlil Okafor. He did everything it took to win. He guarded the best player. He was positionally versatile. He could guard 1 through 5 in the NBA. He was 6'6". He was 220. It all made sense. The only question was the jump shot. Justice Winslow was all rookie his first season, and then his career just sort of dwindled from there. He played every single season up until 2022-23 with Portland. That was his final season in the league. I mean, he took a year off in 23-24. Who knows? He's still young enough he could come back. But why did Justice Winslow not work? He never found anything on the offensive side. And if you look at his numbers by year, like he had some seasons that were okay, 8, 5, and 2. Like he is a player that can pass the ball a little bit. Shot 31% from 3. Shot fell apart at the free throw line. He sort of was just defense, and he never even became like a 3-and-D guy. And even though he is an elite defender with elite size, it never came together. I guess that would be my fear for Stephon Castle is like, is it just defense that sticks in the NBA? Size-wise, they're the same, and I think pedigree resume-wise, I think they're the same.
Okay. I like that comp. Also, wild that Justice Winslow is only 26 years old or 27, whatever he is. That's crazy to me. Okay. My worst case is a lot better than your worst case as a basketball player. But part of that is because I believe in Stephon Castle. Like, even if you don't think Stephon Castle hits his ceiling, I think his floor is still a really, really good player. Okay. I picked Evan Turner as his worst case scenario. I think Evan Turner had a solid NBA career. I think he even had a year where he might have been most improved player or something like that. But I think that this goes towards Stephon Castle having that playmaking ability. I thought that Evan Turner had that. Evan Turner wasn't necessarily just this great shooter or anything like that, but had the ability to knock it down. And also the defensive stuff. Evan Turner was always kind of like that 6'7" ish, 6'6" point forward type. I could see Stephon Castle being that type if he doesn't get the point guard type role that he gets. But to me, I think that he's good enough and the tools are there and the mindset is there that his worst case cannot be a Justice Winslow. He needs to be a better player than Justice Winslow. So I land on Evan Turner as his worst case.
Okay. Here's why I don't like that. Evan Turner had one season in the NBA where he scored 17 points a game. I think a worst case scenario for Stephon Castle is a lot worse than that. In fact, I think I said my projection for his peak year was 16 points a game. So
Okay, but all right, but I think you're looking at peak Evan Turner though.
yeah, But I think if we're saying the worst case scenario for Stephon Castle includes a season where he scores 17 a game, then there's no hesitation. Take him
Yeah,
to
I
it.
was thinking more like Boston 2015, like bench guy, Evan Turner.
Yeah. I get what you're going for. Another guy who like teammates didn't always love, supposedly. I don't know. All right,
Started a podcast.
let's vote out of ours. Are we holding strong or are we sacrificing here?
I'll sacrifice Evan Turner for Justice Winslow if you sacrifice for Jimmy Butler.
Deal. I
All
think
right,
that
good,
feels
good
right.
deal.
Jimmy Butler and Evan. No, Jimmy Butler is the best case. Justice Winslow is the worst case scenario for
I'm
this
good with that.
podcast. I'm good with that. All right, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see the other 74, they'll be rolling out daily leading up to the NBA draft. Go subscribe to the Sleepers channel. The NBA draft is coming up, and I've got something awesome for you. We are partnering with the people at NBA 2K Lab. NBA 2K is the best video game on earth. The people at 2K Lab are making some awesome stuff to make that game even more fun, and they just launched their 2024 NBA Draft Simulator, where you can find the official Sleepers Media big board. We ranked our top 75 players in this draft class. Me, Carter, Brian Ralph, Riley Davis. We did it together, and it is featured on the 2K Lab NBA Draft Simulator. You can take control of any team in the draft, play GM with just one click, and see our entire rankings before these videos even come out. Check out the link in the description of this video to try out the draft sim for yourself, and you can find more mini games at nba2klab.com/nba-mini-games.